Everybody wants to get into real estate for one reason or another. And for a lot of people, they want to get into the space because of what they've heard from others. I believe we've all heard that real estate is a space or a channel that enables you to create good wealth over time. When you look around at the investment portfolio of many wealthy people, you will see that real estate forms a core part of that portfolio. So definitely you may want to get in on the action and get a piece of the pie. But then let me set this premise. Real estate is very, very expensive and it's not something that you can easily just, step into and then have a field day. No, it's not like that. It doesn't work like that. And to get into real estate, you need to have a lot of things working in your favor. For example, you need to have good money and also you need to have time on your side because in the end, if you're getting into real estate to make quick money, then I'm sorry to say that it's not the industry for you or it's not a space for you. Real estate is rather a place where it's not a sprint, it's more of a marathon. So it takes time, it takes patience and resources and other things working together for you to make sense of it and to benefit from it. So then, real estate is very expensive and you should be minded of this, regardless of whether you want to have a place of your own, maybe for a family to raise your family, or you want to have a place as an investment, as we're discussing today. Now, a lot of people, whether they are locals or expatriates, that is Ghanaians living abroad, everybody wants to have a piece of the real estate pie in Ghana at the moment. And why is this so? Well, Ghana, as we know, is we're a very stable country, very peaceful country. And regardless of the current economic situations we're facing where inflation is really high, in the end, there's still some level of stability. And you can see this in the real estate sector, such that when you drive around town, you would see that there's a lot of activity in the space. All you have to do is within a 5-minute drive around any random location in town in Accra, you would see there are a lot of cranes, there's some kind of projects going on, whether it's an office complex or whether it's an apartment complex or there's some activity and it's a good time to get into the game. Now they say that the best time to buy real estate was yesterday, but then the next best time is today. So I hope to share a few things with you today to help you get into the game so you don't miss the bus this time around. Now, what are some of the reasons why people invest in real estate? Well, one of the main reasons is appreciation, value appreciation. Now, if you get your strategy right and you get the right property, which offers you good value, definitely that property will appreciate in price very well over time. But then if you get it wrong and the opposite is true, so then you really want to get it right so that you can enjoy your run or your stint in the real estate space. Now, another reason why people invest in real estate is that it is a hedge against inflation. Now let's look at this. What does it mean? Now, inflation basically causes the prices of goods and services to go up. And then a hedge simply means some form of protection. So a hedge against inflation simply means some form of protection against inflation. Now, this is what happens in real estate. For a lot of structures or mechanisms that involve cash, over time, in the presence of inflation, a lot of cash loses its value. So if you have a lot of money sitting in the bank, trust me, that money is losing value every day. It's losing its purchasing power every day. So then, in order to protect yourself against the effects of inflation, you would want to invest in real estate. And real estate is such that it doesn't lose value over time if done properly. In the midst of inflation, real estate still stands its ground and will enable you to protect your money from losing its purchasing power. As a first time investor or as a first time player in the real estate space, what are some ways that you can get into the game? Well, let's start with residential properties. Definitely, you would want to consider residential properties first because it's probably one of the easiest points of entry in the sense that you can start with a small property, a small apartment that you can acquire and then put up for rent, just something to get you started. And this by no means implies that whatever you're getting will be cheap. No, as I said, from the very beginning, real estate is very, very expensive. So if you don't have all the money, you may consider financing options such as payment plans or mortgages and you may probably pull your resources together. A couple of friends or family can come together and then invest in one project, and then from there, based on the profits you make, you can take all that and then invest in another project. Some way, somehow, you need to find out what works for you, and one size does not fit all. Now, beyond residential properties, definitely you also want to consider commercial properties. Now, this is a bit more sidelined towards those who have more capital and more funds to play with. If you're just starting, definitely you don't want to go into commercial real estate because the cost of entry and the barriers of entry are much higher compared to residential real estate. So for commercial properties, definitely you want to look at office spaces, retail spaces, and all that. And from how the economy is going, regardless of the downturns and all that, the harshness that we're feeling, business is still business. Businesses are booming, and if you find yourself in the right, space, definitely you can make some good money. Now, this one of the ways that I used to measure how well commercial real estate is doing is when you just move around town, you would see that a lot of projects are going up, and based on the part of town you find yourself, there may be a concentration of commercial properties. Take Spintex Road all the way through to, let's say, Boundary Road in East Legon. By the time you drive from the Coca-Cola roundabout on Spintex Road all the way through to East Legon, you will count quite a number of commercial properties that are coming up, some already up, a couple of them still coming up, and you would see that as soon as they go up, they are quickly filled up by businesses, and it's more like there's a queue of people waiting to just occupy all these projects. So if you have if you have the bandwidth to splurge, not in a bad way, but then if you have the bandwidth to do more than just residential properties, then you may want to also consider commercial properties. Now, beyond commercial properties, you want to also consider land as investment. You can start with land that is inexpensive in a place that is not that far away from the city, so you can hold on to it, and then when the time is right, you can sell it off at a markup and then make some good money. Now, beyond buying land to hold, you can also go into what we call land banking. Land banking simply means you're going to get maybe a large parcel of land, and then you can hold it for some time. As the value appreciates, you can start selling that land in bits, or if you have some off-taker who can take the whole land, pay you some good money, why not? At the end of the day, you will end up making some really, really good markups, and then that is one very key way to get into real estate. So whether you're doing residential, whether you're doing commercial, whether you're going the way of lands, you need some strategies to be able to make your money from your investment. So we're leaning towards the commercial and residential for now. So what strategies can you use to make your money? Well, you can do the buy to let scheme where you buy property and then you rent it out. So if you don't have all the money, you can, as I said, put together some money, maybe a group of friends can put together some money, buy one property, rent it out, and the rental yield can go into some other venture. Maybe you can take a mortgage based on the rental yield you get. That rental yield kind of sets the payments on another property and so on. And if you get it right, you would see that over time, if you don't rush to enjoy the profits that you're making over time, you will have a lot of properties in your portfolio, and then there will come a time when you can actually take a step back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. So you can buy a property and rent it out. You can also buy and sell. So buy at, let's say, the construction stage or an off-plan property, and then when construction is done and the value of the property appreciates, you can sell it for a decent markup or a decent profit. Now, you can also look at house flipping, such that maybe you take a property, an old property, a property that is falling apart, and then you can remodel it. You can break it down, not all of it, maybe parts of it, remodel it, and then refit it, kit it out nicely, and then sell it up for a markup. So take a rundown property that is selling for, let's say, 100,000 cedis. You buy that property, remodel it, kit it out nicely, just turn the property around, and breathe new life into it. And then you can sell that property for a good price. Something you bought at 100,000 cities, before you know it, you can sell it for at least twice the price, and then take out your input, as in what you put in to get a property livable again, and then you'll be left with a very, very decent profit. So house flipping is another strategy that you can adopt when investing into real estate. Beyond house flipping, you can also consider short-term rentals. Now, by short-term rentals, lately we have this buzz about Airbnb, where a lot of apartments are in direct competition with hotels. And it's a huge deal because when you go to some hotels during peak seasons, you realize that more apartments are getting full first before the hotels. So if you want to get in the game, definitely you can consider some short-term rentals. It's no longer just about buying a property, renting it out to somebody for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. No, you could actually rent out your property for like a day, 2 days, a week, a month, and you make good money. And the secrets that a lot of people have uncovered with short-term rentals is that you end up making more money within the short term compared to renting out that property over the long term. So you can balance it and find what works for you. Beyond all the strategies that you can adopt when investing in real estate in Ghana, you may also ask, where in Ghana should I invest? Well, let me just highlight a few locations. Definitely, I can cover every location and profile it to show you what will work here and what will not work here. But then let me just highlight a few locations that I think you should consider. Accra, obviously, the capital city. And even in Accra, there are so many high end locations that you can consider. So then, when you look at East Legon, when you look at Airport Residential Area, when you look at Laboni. Now, I mention these places quite often because there is a lot of activity happening in these places, and you cannot ignore them. One day property is going up, the next day some huge project is coming up and all that. There is activity in the space and it's busy, so then it just makes sense to draw your mind to where the action is. So in Accra, definitely you can consider the high-end locations in Accra. Their apartments are coming up. There are properties coming up in places like East Legon Hills, gated communities, and all that. So just choose a place, a good location in Accra, and then start from there. If you have the money, why not? Accra is a good place to start from, especially for expats and even locals. Once you have the means, why not? Now, beyond Accra, we can look at the second biggest city in Ghana, which is Kumasi. For Kumasi, Kumasi is very big. And let's say, from the top of my head, I can think of a place like Asokwa and then Ahojo, in a sense that these places are very conducive for middle to upper class projects. So if you're looking to get into that space in Kumasi, definitely you can look at these locations. But then for central Kumasi, I would rather reserve it for more of commercial real estate. There's a lot of activity in Kumasi and there's a lot of commercial activity in central Kumasi. So if you're in Kumasi, definitely you can lean towards the residential side or the commercial side in the center of the city. Now, beyond Kumasi, beyond Accra, you can look at Takoradi, which is the oil city, of course. And you can also look at, let's say, Cape Coast for its tourism. And you can venture up north to Tamale, because why not? I mean, the place is developing and there's a lot of room for growth. So you just find your spot and make it work for you. You also need to understand the market trends and the pitfalls to avoid if you're going to get it right with your real estate investment. So then let's look at some trends. One of the trends that is gaining grounds over time steadily is gated communities. And yes, you may say that, I mean, they've been around for a long time. Yes, they've been around, but then people are getting more comfortable with gated communities compared to standalone houses. Why? Because gated communities give you a better sense of security and safety. And properties in gated communities normally appreciate better over time compared to standalone properties. So gated communities are one of the key trends that you need to look at if you want to invest into real estate. Now, another trend is eco-friendly houses where you have, beyond the regular utilities and all that, you have solar backup power. Some people even have wind turbines, small turbines that help them to offset the cost of their electricity usage. Beyond the utilities and all that, people are also warming up to smart homes. You just take your phone, you can turn off the lights, turn on the lights, turn off the AC, just regulate your house and secure it, whether you're right at home or far away. And that is a really nice feature to have in your home lately, because why not? We're in a connected age, and definitely your home should not be left off the grid when it comes to connectivity. Beyond the trends, there are pitfalls that you need to avoid to have your peace of mind. Now, one of the main pitfalls to avoid is land ownership disputes. In Ghana, it's a common thing. And unfortunately, this shouldn't be acceptable, but then we've sort of come to live with it, that is part of the property acquisition process where you buy a property and you have to be on the lookout for issues that may arise. Somebody comes and says, I'm a co-owner of the property, you need to settle me as well. So you buy the property from one person, you end up paying two or three people for that property, which is just not right. And I've seen cases of people and some expats who have come to set up shop in Ghana, and they had to deal with some of these things, and it doesn't represent us properly. So if we're calling on all kinds of investments, whether from individuals, from entities, and all that, we need to get this issue dealt with properly to create a very conducive atmosphere for whoever chooses to invest. So land ownership issues is one of the pitfalls that you need to be on the lookout for. Another thing you need to watch out for is overestimating the returns that you hope to make in your investment or with your investment. Some people, in the bid to sell their properties, will be quick to tell you you can make 10% return on investment if you buy this property, and you can start earning some rental income right away. Sometimes it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes things take longer to materialize. So you want to take your time, you want to do your due diligence and do your research so that whatever is said to you is not exactly what you're eating. At least you would have mixed it up a bit with your own little spices here and there. So whatever you end up consuming tastes good without leaving a bitter taste in your mouth. Now, another thing to also watch out for is property management. If you have a property and for that property to gain good value over time, you need to be managing that property really well. But if you allow the property to run down over time, then the value may not go up as much as you would love it. For instance, you have an apartment that, let's say the value of the apartment is 150,000 Ghana cedis, and you take care of that apartment. Definitely, anybody who comes to view the apartment and would like to rent definitely will have an easy choice to make. But if you run out the apartment such that it's not looking nice, it's not looking livable, anyone who wants to rent will have to consider how much work do I have to put in to make this place livable for me. I would rather go for something else than settle for this. That is not the way you want to go. So if you have your property management sorted properly, then you can be guaranteed of your property's value appreciating over time. So watch out for this as well. And to crown it all up, I'd like to share a few practical tips for you to get started. Number one, you want to start small. I understand that yes, real estate is very expensive, but then you want to start small. By starting small, I don't mean just having a few thousand CDs in your pocket and then hey, I'm a real estate investor. No, definitely you want to count your costs. You want to make sure you have a good strategy in place, but then start small. When you start small, it enables you to test the waters, and it enables you to learn very quickly and also fail very quickly, so you know what works and what will not work. So start small. Another tip is to build a network. By a network, I mean to get a house off the ground, to even get a land and then put a house on it, get a house off the ground to where it is livable, definitely you need different kinds of people, from surveyors to lawyers for legal aspects of things, to contractors and utility service providers. You need lots of people. So then you need to build a network. You need to know people in different jurisdictions of the industry who can help you put together the vision of your real estate investment strategy. Beyond the network, you need to do your due diligence. I wish I could say less of this, but then I cannot overstate it. You need to do your due diligence. Always, always, always make sure that you dot your I's, you cross your T's, and don't leave anything to chance when you're dealing with real estate. Because what you may skip over today may be the thing that haunts you tomorrow. So do your due diligence and don't try to do it all by yourself or take shortcuts. For instance, don't hire a draftsman to design your house if you really want to get it right. Go hire an architect. It may cost you a bit more, but then that will save you from headaches in the future. You don't want to live in a building where you're afraid that it will just collapse on you one day. Beyond the architect, you definitely want to go for a lawyer who will help you through the legal aspects of things, help you go through all the agreements and all the documents, make sure everything lines up properly so you don't get it wrong. And also, part of doing your due diligence implies that if you're looking to rent a property or you want to buy a property, don't try to do it all by yourself. Go and employ the services of a property agent or property broker, and then they will help you get it right. Now, that also brings to mind the channel sponsor for Ghana Ground Up, which is Pollen Realty. Pollen Realty is a top performing real estate brokerage in Ghana. And whether you're looking to rent, you're looking to buy, you're looking to sell your property, you definitely want to touch base with Pollen Realty. Their details will be on the screen. Get in touch with them today. You can visit their website at pollenrealty.co, not .com, it's .co, pollenrealty.co, and then you can start your property search from there. So Pollen Realty will be waiting for your call. They're ready to help you in your real estate investment journey. Now, beyond all the strategies that you may have, beyond all your plans, you need an exit strategy. Even if you're just starting on your first project, your first investment scheme, you need to have an exit strategy. You need to have a way to make the money that you're investing back and top it up with some good profits. Well, that wraps it up for today's episode of Ghana Ground Up, where we've talked about how to invest in real estate, especially focusing on the first time investor. I hope you've learned something. If you have a friend or anybody who's looking to invest, you want to share this video with them to help them on their journey as well. Many, many thanks for sticking and staying with me today. My name is Desmond Kafui, and this is Ghana Ground Up. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.